got my notes. So I started a 30-day challenge, and it was just a me 30-day challenge. My plan was to post one Instagram reel on a new account on Instagram every day for a month and to see what the results were, because all of these statistics from Metricool and Instagram, all of these social media statistics show that Reels is the best method currently for organic reach on Instagram. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to start from scratch and just see what 30 days straight of just Reels would do? Sounds interesting, right? Or it did to me. And I had set myself up in the best way possible. I have a scheduler, Metricool. I have access to apps that will create Reels for me from videos I already made at Opus, and I got the time. And yet, I only made it 17 days into the challenge. And I was just like, oh, seriously? I'm so defeated. And then I realized I do this all the time. I start a project all gung-ho, and then it just goes away. Why does this keep happening to us? And what can we do about it? I got a few ideas. Hi, I'm Meganbrame. I'm a 5-time award-winning entrepreneur and business strategist. I teach multi-passion creatives how they can generate sustainable revenue across all of their outlets without burning out. Now, this typically means that my clients are people with ADHD, but if that's not you, don't worry. You're welcome here too, because my business strategies will work for any entrepreneur who wants to earn income from more than one business without driving themselves crazy. Before we get into it, I just want to say that I know your brain isn't a fan of long-winded videos. That's why, as always, I'll break this up into chapters, as well as list my sources in the description below. Okay, first it's time for some science. Why is it so hard for entrepreneurs or anyone with ADHD to follow through? The bad news is scientists aren't 100% sure. Even though the first description of ADHD-like symptoms was published in 1775, studying ADHD wasn't given a priority until the past 20 or so years, and even less so for adults with ADHD. The good news is we still got a few clues. The main culprits seem to be dopamine and hypocretin or orexin. These are neuropeptides that regulate things in our brain like salience processing, reward behaviors, and motivation. One recent study found, and I'm not a scientist, so this is my best shot at interpreting this. Hopefully I'm getting this right. That when there's problems getting enough of these neuropeptides in our brain, it gets difficult to maintain our focus and alertness. Basically, and again, I'm not a scientist, I'm just a fan. Because of our genetics, we're on the low end of the levels for these chemicals most humans need to stay motivated and alert. Consequently, it's hard for people like us to stick with something that doesn't trigger a reward response fast enough. So, thanks, genes. Okay, so what can we do about it? Here are a few ideas I have, but remember, ADHD affects each of us differently. So what may work for me might not for you. The best tip is to give things a try and see if you can adapt the basis of them into something that triggers your inherent motivations. Number 1, lower the friction. And I actually learned this from Sunny Lenarduzzi in her video discussing how she's able to stay consistent with her business and her life. Lowering the friction means getting the barriers out of the way that would make it hard for you to stay motivated. The same goes for me work-wise. There is no way I'd be able to film YouTube videos if I had to set up and break down my equipment every time. That's why I created this permanent setup, and I have a whole video about it so that I don't have to set up and break down. I just have to come and sit here and turn the lights on and say hi to you. And the same goes for my freelance work and my other businesses. I make it as easy as possible to get to work. I work from home, I use apps to automate things, and I do work that I enjoy doing, which leads me to number 2, run a business you enjoy. So many people got into hustle culture a few years ago, myself included, and just went on the grind hard. Talking ourselves into believing this was the right way to go. Turns out, hey, we all burned out. My best advice is to take the foundation of that mindset, which is focus, and put it towards something that lights you up. I've talked to people who created businesses because they thought it would be profitable, not because it's what they enjoyed. Have you ever heard about somebody who went to school to get a degree in a subject they didn't care about because it would make them money? Sure, that works for some. There are some doctors out there who wanted to be artists and are amazing doctors. But for neurodivergents like us, that just puts things on hard mode. So instead of going with what you think you should do, go with what lights you up. And you might not even be aware of what that means in terms of a business, but if you start with just like, what is the first thing that comes to mind when I say, what is it you love to do? If you were like, I love stickers, then pull that thread a little bit and see where that business is. Are you a sticker maker? Are you a sticker wholesaler? Are you someone who, I don't know. I think that's the only options. There's probably more, but those are the only two that came to my head. Are you a writer? Do you like writing fiction? Maybe you can look into ghostwriting. These are not 100% great examples, but my point is to just figure out what that spark is and pull that thread a little bit and see where that business is in that thread that lights you up. Next, like this video and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, okay, I know, sorry. But it's my goal to help as many ADHD entrepreneurs as possible create one or many businesses they love that thrive. The more I hear from business owners like you, the more I'm able to create content that caters to your unique challenges. So hit the subscribe button and don't be a stranger. Back to it. 4, create smaller milestones that get that dopamine hit. You know, looking back, I think my biggest problem with the 30-day challenge or any challenges I've tried to do is that the payoff is at the end. And I just can't wait around for that to happen, apparently. Instead, had I found a way to reward myself with smaller milestones, it might have helped. Maybe I needed to try like a 2-week challenge instead of a 30-day challenge. Or maybe I needed to rethink what my workload would be for that 30 days. Like maybe week 1, it was my goal to create 30 reels. Week 2, it was my goal to edit and optimize the copy for the Instagram algorithm. The next week was getting all of 30 scheduled, and so on. Same goes for you too. The next time you want to start something with a timeline, try breaking up the timeline by pivoting your mindset to look for new goals that give you that dopamine hit that you're craving. 5, give yourself some time to do some mindless stuff. And I actually thought of this video while I was cleaning my craft apron, which is a perfect example of this. It's like shower thoughts, where taking your mind off of the task at hand and doing something that doesn't require a lot of brain activity might give you that chance to get your creativity going, and that creativity gets you motivated, and all of a sudden you're just off to the races. Number 6, ride that motivation whenever it hits and get the most done that you can. I am not an 8 to 6er. I know like traditional is 9 to 5, but let's be honest, it's all 8 to 6 now. And I'm not that person. I know that, so I stopped trying to have business hours a long time ago. Now, I do still have meetings, but I don't build my day around these arbitrary structures. Instead, I let myself have mornings off and start working when my natural rhythm hits. And that's usually around 11 o'clock or noon. Now, some days it's just not there. I know, like the best intentions, and some days I just can't do it. I know you're probably the same, where we have to work even harder to hit a deadline or we miss a deadline. But I think the majority of my work time being built around when I'm most motivated has given me a good foundation so that it balances to the point that I think actually my good work days far outweigh my bad work days. Number 7, ignore or delegate the tasks you can't or won't do. Like I said before, I use schedulers, but I also use repurposing apps, and occasionally we'll bring in contractors to do things that I know I can't do on my own. In my 2020 goals video, I mentioned how I needed to hire a few developers to get things built that were just too far out of my wheelhouse, and I have successfully done that. I'm very proud to say, cross that off my list. Number 8, this is not 8. Number 8, reward yourself for good enough progress, even if you fail. You know, I love that we're in an era of prioritizing mental health and self-care. Our brains are very black and white. So it's really great to add a little bit of a gray area in your gray matter. And adding that bit of gray can go a long way toward reducing apathy and pessimism the next time you want to try a new project or a new challenge. So essentially give yourself some grace, even if you mess up. Find what you learned in it, because the worst thing you can do is become apathetic and never try again. And number 9, keep taking your meds and keep going to therapy. ADHD is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And that's it. Hopefully that helped you. Leave a comment and let me know, but I'll see you in the next video.